Hello everyone, Big Clinky here with your requisite after series update video. Trails in the Sky second chapter is done, and overall I hope those of you who watched enjoyed it. I know it definitely got lower views compared to everything else I've done, and I did see that coming given that the Trails series is relatively obscure. But I had fun making it, and those who watched it seem to have enjoyed it, so I am glad I did it overall. I've already kind of made it clear what I want to be doing next, but I want to talk a little bit more about that because it's been a while since my last update video and I've had a bit of time to formulate my ideas about the next planned series. So, as a kind of a between projects thing, I do plan to do Crash Bandicoot 3 on the Insane Trilogy, just like I did Crash 2 back after I finished Persona 3. I want to do something shorter after playing several long RPGs, and with most of my future projects also being long RPGs, and I recently got the Insane Trilogy on sale on Switch and I've been really enjoying them. As for why I'm going into 3 and not Crash 1, well, the main reason is I just like Crash 3 better, but I do admit the Insane Trilogy has improved my opinion of Crash 1 a lot. I did not think the original PS1 version was that good, but the updated version is far better. I'll probably play that someday, but for now, I want to go into Crash 3 because it's also the order I played the games in as a kid, 2, 3, 1. It will likely be a bit longer than 2 thanks to the increased number of collectibles, but don't expect it to be super long. I am going to be going for all platinum relics though, but that'll be at the end of the series, and those will all be post-commentary, just an advance warning, because they're going to take dozens of attempts each, and I'm just not going to do that with live commentary. But look forward to that in the immediate future. I might take a bit of a break for a while, and I'll also be working on a few bonus videos for Trails in the Sky SC, namely reading the Gambler Jack books, which, yes, I am going to get around to doing, and maybe showing off a few glitches and ranting about the evolution opening of SC, which is, you'll see. I don't like it, I'll just say it that much. Unfortunately, don't expect an unused content video for that series. I really wish I could do one, but there just isn't that much information on unused content for Trails in the Sky FC and SC. The CuttingRoomFloor.net only has unused content for the third and the Cold Steel games. And as I said in the series itself, there aren't a lot of good sources for information about the actual development and coding of the Trails in the Sky games. But mostly, I've got some real-life related stuff to attend to for the next week or so don't expect very regular uploads in that time. But I am looking forward to getting into Crash 3. That's a game that I really enjoy. And after that, I know this sounds crazy after doing 2 enormous JRPG series, but I'm now almost positive that I'll be doing Persona 4 next. So, there are a few reasons for this. The first is that I never really planned to do Persona 4. I actually planned to go from 3 to Tokyo Mirage Sessions to 5, because I originally didn't like P4 all that much. Actually, that's only half true, but I'll get to that later. And I also felt that it was a game that was a bit too overexposed, and I'd seen a lot of really big name LPs of it in the past. But lately, a lot of people have been coming to my Persona 3 videos. It seems like the Persona 3 bad ending video has got a lot of traffic lately for some reason, although one thing I said in it, if you've just found this video in isolation, stupid ambiguous English language. No, I did not mean that. I meant if you found this video on its own without looking at my full playlist and hadn't watched any of the other videos I've done on the game, and were just here for the bad ending, but people misinterpreted it for some reason and thought I was a psychic. In all seriousness though, I think it's the release of Persona 5 Royal, which is actually the reason why I didn't want to jump into P5, because now there's a re-release that adds a whole bunch of new content, and I want to wait until that's all fully researched and analysed. There were some people who were asking me to play Persona 5 Royal, and I'm not really the kind of person to jump into a game immediately on release, especially not one that's very big and all the rage. Me doing Fire Emblem Fates and Three Houses on release might give you that impression, but my intention for those two series was actually very different to a normal day one Let's Play. I was more trying to show off what the perspective of a longtime Fire Emblem fan is playing a new installment of that series blind. Which is something that I definitely can't do for P5 Royal because I've already spoiled myself on just about everything about that game. In fact, even the original Persona 5, I just jumped into spoilers immediately on its Japanese release. But overall, I feel that doing that would actually sap away a lot of the reasons why I enjoy recording Persona games. It's because I love talking about all of the mythology and the psychological symbolism, and doing in-depth research on that kind of thing. And also making bios, which I don't really see a lot of other Persona playthroughs on YouTube doing. All of that would be lost if I just did a day one Let's Play, so that's why I'm not going to handle it that way. But speaking of bios, part of the reason why I made this video was to get a little bit of input on a prototype of Persona 4 bios that I'm starting to make. So without further ado, let's show the Persona 3 party member bios for comparison. I actually really like the color scheme that I went with on these ones, but that's only because the official art of the Velvet Room just happens to be a very good background for Persona 3 related stuff in general. So here is what I've got for the Persona 4 version so far. Now, I know the color scheme is a little bit eye-searing, but blame Persona 4 for that because I didn't choose bright yellow and orange as the main stat screen color scheme for that game. Most of the information I have here is about the same as what I use for the Persona 3 bios, but I'm having to fit in a lot more skills because unlike P3, party member Persona evolutions are a little different in P4, and the skill learn sets are not split between the base forms and the evolve forms, so I have to show every learned skill by level up in the first bio. And I've had to really squeeze in a lot of tables for this, so tell me if the text is too small here, because I can easily see it being too small. If you feel that way, I'll definitely fix that. I've also cut out the column headings, like the skill name, description, and what level it's learned at, because I feel that all of those are self-evident. Like, seeing the numbers on the sides there, you can all tell what that means. It means that's the level the character learns that skill. At least that's what I think. If you don't think it's that obvious, please tell me and I'll fix that. Again, I'm looking for feedback here, don't hold back. The Elemental Affinity readout, I've actually copied that directly from a screenshot from the game. The only thing that worries me a little bit is the left-hand edge of that. The sides of the box aren't rounded like they are on the right-hand side. I might be able to find a way to do that, but it might be a little bit tricky. Just to explain things, I do all of these slides on PowerPoint, and I'm by no means a professional graphic designer or anything, so forgive me if this looks a bit rough, I'm just doing the best I can. The actual stat display has a couple of changes from my Persona 3 bios. The first is that I'm showing the actual numbers on the bar, so that you get a much clearer indication of where those stats actually are. These are level 99 stats, by the way, but I feel that gives a good indication of the character's specialties overall. But also, unlike my Persona 3 bios, I'm showing HP and SP now. And the only reason that I didn't do that for the P3 ones is because I couldn't be bothered to look up that information. So I found a good Game FAQs topic that had all of the party members' HP and SPs at level 99, and it's actually a good part of their strengths and weaknesses. For example, Yosuke's are pretty balanced, but Chie's SP is horrible, and Kanji's HP is ridiculous. One thing that might look a little bit weird is you might notice the scale, lines indicating 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. don't go up to the SP bars. That's because I had to make them run on a completely different scale to the rest of the stats. I personally think it looks okay, but tell me if the lines not reaching that high is a problem. Now I think about it, I could even cut out the lines entirely. So that's overall all I want to show on these stat screens, but people who've played Persona 4 Golden might notice that some skills are missing here. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to show the social link skills here because I want to leave those as a surprise for when we get them. As for bike skills, I'll show those in separate bios when we have access to that mechanic, because they bear talking about individually. Oh, I just made a bear pun, didn't I? Well, now you know that I'm going to play this game. So those are the party member bios. Now here are the persona bios. So for comparison, here is Orpheus's bio from P3. Forgive the poor quality, I had to screenshot this directly off of my own YouTube video because I don't know where my original PowerPoint for P3 is. And here is Izanagi's from P4. Unlike party members, I'll be showing the persona stats for their base levels. And there's really not too much to explain here, but I do feel there's a bit of wasted space below the Tarot Arcana. That might be because Persona 4 doesn't have heart items, so there's really not a lot that I can really display there, but I'm definitely going to need that space when I get to some of the higher tier personas that have much wider learn sets than Izanagi. The only other major change to go over is that instead of inheritance type, I've got can't inherit. So inheritance types still exist in Golden, and technically they still operate on the same system they did in Persona 3. Basically, every inheritance type determines what probability a persona has of inheriting certain types of skills through fusion. For example, Izanagi's inheritance type is electricity, which makes him far more likely to inherit those skills in fusion. The thing is, that doesn't matter at all in Golden, because you can now choose what skills are inherited in fusion. But every inheritance type still has some skill types that have a 0 probability of being inherited, and that still applies to Golden. So in Golden, inheritance type doesn't so much control what skills a persona can inherit, but rather what skills they definitely can't. And in Izanagi's case, he can't inherit wind skills. That's only through fusion, by the way. He can still get wind skills via skill cards. I'll talk about that in more detail when I get to the playthrough, it's a little bit weird. But anyway, I hope that all made sense. If you are following along with the vanilla version of P4 though, it might be a little bit more beneficial for me to list the actual inheritance type. So tell me what you think in the comments. I personally prefer this way because it's a bit easier to understand, especially since there are some personas who can't inherit things like healing or almighty skills. And I feel that that definitely bears mentioning in their bio. So with the bios out of the way, just a few things that I want to clear up about the playthrough, and some things that I want to talk about that I discovered when I did a full practice run of this game recently. The first thing is, some comments on my recording test were concerned as to whether or not I really liked the game all that much, and if it would be a good thing for me to commit to something so long if I wouldn't be able to stay positive throughout it. Rest assured, some of you are under the impression that I really hate this game, and I actually don't. Like any game, it has its flaws, and I'm not going to sugarcoat them. And while, admittedly, it does have my least favourite story in general of Persona 3, 4, and 5, its highlights reach and even surpass the highlights of 3 and 5 to me. During my test run, I forgot just how amazing the events around the November dungeon are. Like, I love that part of the story so much, and I really can't wait to get to it. But core story aside, it actually does have my favourite main party of the 3, and it also has, by far, my favourite psychological symbolism of the 3. And that's the main reason why I want to cover this game. I have so much to say about the dungeons and boss fights. And while, yeah, this game has a few dud social links in my opinion, but then again, Persona 3 did as well, Nozomi, its party member social links are easily my favourites of just about any social links in any Persona game, and that's something else that I want to get into. So, doing a test run, I actually got to see a lot of the platonic roots of the social links for the first time, because this is another reason why I really want to play Persona 4 on the channel. Every single Let's Play and YouTube video I have ever seen of this game only shows the harem roots. And I find that's a real shame because, in particular, I think Yukiko's platonic rank 10 is amazing. Naoto's is pretty good too, Chie's is pretty nice, and some of the non-party social links have really good platonic roots as well. And speaking of which, Marie. I found out some interesting things doing Marie's social link. Not only does Marie actually have a platonic root, But a lot of the quote-unquote shove down your throat as the implied love interest moments that people talk about with Marie are exclusive to her romance path. I find it a little ironic that a game that stresses the importance of not being caught up in rumors and trying to find the actual truth could create misconceptions like this so easily. Like, show of hands, who here believed that Marie always kisses you on Valentine's Day regardless of if you romance her or not? Because that was the prevailing opinion, but I actually know that's totally false. Speaking of Marie, I actually had some people in the comments sections on my test videos saying they would rather me play the PS2 version just because it doesn't have her. Given my overall opinions on controversial characters tend not to align with the fanbase, you probably won't be surprised to hear that I'm neutral on her. I definitely don't hate her, but I wouldn't say that I like her either. Look forward to hearing my full thoughts during the series. So back to the subject of the platonic roots, the only one that I really had an issue with on my test run was the Moon social link. Without going into too many spoilers about how this link works, there's really no way to not have this one end on a complete downer unless you romance her. You either have to deliberately take the unhealthy branch of the link, or you go the better path and then reject her at rank 10, and that's where things end. At least I can avoid the other rank 10 rejection by picking Music Club instead of Drama, which I fully intend to do, but I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the Moon one. I might test the quote-unquote bad path on a New Game Plus just to see if the platonic end to that one is better. That leads me into the next part I want to talk about. I am currently recording footage for this series from a New Game Plus run. Yeah, I haven't even started the series yet and I'm already recording bonus videos. I'm going to record the full alternate strength and sun social links, as well as all of the "you don't have enough courage to pick that" options that I won't be able to show in the main playthrough. And while I'm here, I might as well do a harem run and get all of the footage for the romantic parts of the social links, because yes, I will be showing those in bonus footage, and the platonic route for the one social link I do end up romancing. The main reason why I'm doing this is, I know right now I still have to do the super bosses of Persona 3 and Persona Q. It is kinda hard to find time to work on New Game Plus Personas just to have the right stuff for them, and in the case of PQ I have to play through the entire Persona 4 route on my own time. And Persona 4 itself has one of the most ridiculous unlock conditions for a super boss ever. You have to play all the way up to the true ending on a New Game Plus, and beat all the optional bosses, and max out the Emperor's social link. So that I don't have that daunting task awaiting me when I finish the Persona 4 playthrough, I'm instead gonna do a "here's a New Game Plus file I prepared earlier" approach. Hopefully, that'll mean that I can do the super boss right as I finish the main playthrough. People who played this game will also know there's one other New Game Plus exclusive thing that I have to show. That requires you to be level 90, so might as well do that at the same time. You need both of those for the Platinum Trophy, which leads me to one other thing. I don't know if I'll be showing the Platinum Trophy in the playthrough. And it's not because of hardcore Rosette fan. I feel kinda confident that I can get that. The real problem trophy is Card Collector, which requires you to register 100 different skill cards. I find this is nearly impossible on a first-time playthrough, and this is a over 100-hour game, so that really says something. I counted and I had barely 40 at the end of my first run. How it works is there are only two ways to get skill cards, via sword cards in shuffle time, and if you're not going for excessive grinding like I am, you definitely won't get a lot from that method, and through a daily activity that uses up time, and thus we never get to do it until the last month of the game. I'm gonna try to get this one on my New Game Plus file, but I won't make any promises. So that's really all I wanted to say. I'm definitely looking forward to this, I hope some of you are too. I know this will be long, and it will definitely take this channel away from Fire Emblem for a while for all those who are fans of that series. I just really need a break after spending over 6 months on 3 houses. And if I do go back to Three Houses later, I want it to be years later, when the honeymoon period for the game is well and truly over, like the approach I took with Awakening. Honestly, the next Fire Emblem that I'm kind of considering is Tearing Saga, but that's going to require a lot of research, because it's a pretty complicated game overall. As an example, there's an entire optional Zelda-style item trading quest that can only be done between 2 shops and blacksmiths during skirmish maps. And after that, assuming no remakes that I like come out in the meantime, probably a Fire Emblem 4 replay, or even Shadow Dragon. Lately I've actually come to like Shadow Dragon a lot more than I used to. So that's where things stand there. I hope you understand the fact that I need to take a break from that series for a while. But I'll definitely be back to it someday. For now, I hope you enjoy my next planned projects, and I will see you all next time for likely bonus footage for Sky SC.